Are you feeling extremely impatient on your twin flame journey? Questioning when is this going to ever happen? Feeling frustrated that it's going so slow? But these are all reasons for you to take a step back and say, what is this trying to teach me? Because patience is actually one of the biggest things we're going to learn on this journey. We have to learn to let go of the outcome and trust the process. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialize in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. Yeah, patience is something that I suppose we're all creatures of being very impatient. That's one for me anyway. Oh my God, the frustration. You know what I mean? And like, we're always in a rush to get to the next phase. And when we get to the next phase, we want to get to the next phase. And it's like, when is this ever going to fucking happen? And it drives us fucking crazy. And then when we're on the twin flame journey, it just enhances our impatience because we're like, oh, what the fuck is this ever going to happen? But when we're impatient, when we're not trusting, this means that we have something to heal. And what we need to heal is our own trust and having faith in the outcome. Because we're so fixated on 3D. We're like, we see what the 3D and we're like, oh my God, it's not going right. You know, they're not replying, or this isn't, why aren't I in union? Why is there so many blocks? And actually, that's funny. Yeah, like I spoke about this before. I'm going to go on a little tangent now for a second. We get signs and synchronicities all the time about our twin flame journey. And we get obvious signs that, like, oh, hold on now, like, this is actually going the right way. You're getting those 111s, those 222s, you're getting those synchronized numbers, but you're getting other signs as well. And one of the ones I keep getting lately, obviously, is that lessons in patience. So this is the thing, right? If you're slowed down, if you end up in traffic, behind a red traffic light, all these kind of things, these are all lessons in patience. And obviously, because we're not just on a spiritual journey, we're also on the twin flame journey is a very big part of our lives when we're on it, and the healing part of that. So obviously, anytime I'm slowed down, I'm like, you have to be patient, you have to trust. And, you know, I mentioned this a few weeks ago. You know, I was just after hitting a traffic light, and when I came through, I saw a plumber van drive past, and I noticed the sign on it. I was like, that's weird. How did I notice that? It just it stuck with me. And then I saw a number plate that says 222. And then I hit the next traffic lights, and I was behind another plumber van, and I was like, and the number plate said 111, and I was like, this is telling me something. You see something more than once, it's giving you a sign. And there was actually angel wings on the sign as well. I was like, oh my God, the angels are divinely protecting us, and the angels are unblocking union. Or, you know, clearing the blocks to union. Because I was like, what do plumbers do? And I was like, they clear blocks, they clear the drains, they clear blocks. And I was like, oh my God, the angels are clearing blocks to union. And that's the energy I got. I actually saw, the reason I thought of this again was because I saw another van the other day. It was like blockage busters was on it. I was like, yes, the blocks are being fucking cleared. But this is it. We're being shown signs and synchronicities every day to help us trust the process and help us to have that patience. You know, and anytime you're slowed down or you're given any kind of a delay or detour in your normal life, that's a reflection of what you need to heal within yourself as well. So, you know, you're being taught patience. Like, oh my God, I was such a fast-paced person. And I mentioned this in many of my videos, like, really, like, fucking running somewhere rather than walking. And, you know, I'd speed walking. Like, Jesus, I had to slow down. Oh my God, you know what I mean? A sunny day and you'd be fucking sweating balls because you fucking run into the shop. Like, no, slow down. You know, and it's only because I got signs to slow down in my life that I realized that I was being taught patience. Now I'm the most patient person ever. Yes, I get a little bit frustrated at times, but now if I'm stuck in a line or stuck in traffic, I see it as I ask it, what's this lesson? What is this trying to show me? Why am I being, slowed down? And it is a sign of patience. It really is. It's a sign of just taking a step back. It's a sign of taking a break. It's take a breather, like, relax, you know, just fucking relax, man. Do you know what I mean? And it's just this, like, just take a breath, do you know, and listen to your intuition. Listen to what you feel. Listen to the truth. And I think a lot of times we create blocks in our union because of our frustration, because of our impatience. You know what I mean? We're bringing in an energy of desperation, and it's actually making things more delayed. You know, if we're supposed to get to a place of feeling so calm, so unconditionally loving of ourselves and our whole lives that we are happy whether or not it comes in or not. We have to let go. We have to detach from that outcome. It's the only way it's going to come in. But because of certain things that we have to heal. And like for me personally lately, I have been very impatient. I have been kind of fixated on why isn't this happening yesterday? Like, for fuck's sake, I'm ready. But obviously, if I'm pissed off, I'm not fucking ready. Do you know what I mean? I have to ask myself, what do I need to heal here? And that's, I think a lot of for me personally, and I know collectively we're going through the same thing, so I'm sure you guys can relate to this as well. But like, it's that feeling of unworthiness comes back up. We think the delay is because our twin doesn't want us. We think the delay is because we're not good enough. We think the delay is because they don't want to choose us or they don't want us in our lives. And I think every time I go through a delay lately, it's literally kind of going, what's wrong with me? What did I do wrong? Okay, I can feel emotions coming up there. I still need to heal a bit. But yeah, I could feel like, what did I do wrong? Is there something physically or wrong with me, or is there something wrong with my personality? Why do they run? I think we must all collectively go through this at the moment, because I'm actually bringing up some things that I need to heal here. But yeah, it's those feelings of not being chosen. And one of the loudest things that I've gotten the last 2 days is that impatience that we're going through is us not believing that our twin will choose us. But our twin isn't choosing us because we're not choosing ourselves. And why aren't we choosing ourselves? Because we don't think we're good enough. We've only ever known traumatic relationships. We've only ever known abuse and trauma and feeling unworthy and being confirmed by our exes that we were unworthy or that we were pieces of shit. And we expect that same treatment. And any kind of, I suppose, delay in our connection makes us feel like the past is repeating and that we're actually being treated like shit again. And that can lead us to not feeling good enough, and then therefore we're not really choosing ourselves in that moment. But our twin can't choose us if we don't choose ourselves. And they can't choose, and the whole objective here actually is not them choosing us, it's them choosing themselves as well. We can if we choose ourselves personally, that will mirror back to them and help them choose themselves. They're not choosing you. Am I saying this right? What they're doing is not choosing themselves in their life. They're not making themselves a priority. You say to yourself, why aren't they making me a priority? They're not making themselves a priority. That's the reason. They're running around doing everything for everyone else, doing things that are no longer in alignment with their soul, not making what they want for their future and for their connection a priority, not choosing themselves. So therefore that reflects back to us as well. We're not choosing ourselves. So we have to choose ourselves for them to choose themselves, and that way then we can choose each other. But this is all down to that patience again, and understanding that any of that impatience is down to our own needs for healing, and yeah, like so much is coming up for me now. I find it so I find these videos actually help myself as well, because they help me understand what I need to heal as well. But like what I learned, I got this lovely message the other day. I was outside in the garden and being out in nature. If you are a little bit upset or wondering what's going on, go out in nature, be in silence, ask those questions, ask your angels, because I've had to do that a lot lately as well. Just ask my angels, what is it that I need to heal? Because obviously we kind of go, why aren't they fucking healing? Why aren't they doing the work? Why aren't they choosing me? No. They're not choosing themselves, and neither are you. So ask the angels the other question. What can I do to heal? What can I do to choose myself? What can I do to feel good enough in my skin? And that will reflect back to them, and they will choose themselves then. But I got this lovely message. I was sitting outside, and like there was 2 airplanes in the sky. You see that the jet stream, and they were parallel to each other. You don't often see that, like 2 planes going in the same direction. Oh, it's such a good sign. One was further ahead than the other. And I was like, that's a symbol of our twin flame connections, because every twin flame connection is similar. We're all on the same path. We're all only just, trying to get home, really. And one was just a little bit ahead of the other. And I was just like, oh my God, that's like twin flames, We're both heading in the same direction. We're both heading towards that end goal, which is each other. The only thing is, that one is a little bit behind, you know, because obviously, you know, for me personally anyway, I was on the awakening journey for a longer time. And I do think that my twin was awakening for a lot longer than he consciously realized. He was on a self-discovery journey himself. But it was more of a logical self-discovery journey. And I suppose you bring him more into the spiritual side when you connect, and it's just a little bit slowed down. And, you know, and what I noticed as well, what I felt as well, was that the plane that was just a little bit behind was accelerating. And that's another thing, is that another reason why we have to be patient is not only, like, I've been on the awakening journey since 2018. I realised I was a twin around that time as well. And it's been fucking tough, like, you know, you're going through that dark night of the soul, you're going through all these heavy emotions, every trigger is coming up, all your traumas from this life and past life are coming up. And I had since 2018 to go through stuff. And then when I met my twin in the physical, I was re-triggered into more awakenings, like heart awakenings and stuff. And it was fucking tough. And I was conscious of what was going on. But we have to understand that our twin is going through all of that stuff in a more condensed space of time. Yes, it's more accelerated, but fuck shit, that must be hard, like. You know what I mean? And we don't give enough compassion in that sense. You know, we're so frustrated with why they're not choosing us, but in actual fact, they're going through a lot of pain. They're going through a lot of trauma. They're going through all the things that we had to go through. Like, I've had to walk away from family, friends, a lot of people in my life in order to move forward on my journey. And they have to understand that they have to let go of some things as well that are no longer serving them. And it's a very hard thing to do. You know, and like, you know, it's been a few years now a couple of years anyways, since I actually had to walk away from people. But I remember how difficult that was. And it was really fucking hard, because you're literally going from a big support system to you being your only support system, you and your angel team. You know what I mean? And you're like literally going from being surrounded by people all the time, to being literally on your own. And that's scary. And it's a hard decision to make, because you've known no different your whole life. So we need to be more compassionate towards our twin and what they're actually going through, because they are speeding up. They are doing the work. And that's another thing. Oh my God. Oh, why do we do this? Like, literally, we're so fixated on what they're not doing, how they're treating us badly, or what we perceive as badly. And, you know, why can't they do this? Why can't they do that? Why can't they do this? And then they do we're forgetting, though, of all the things that they're doing that has improved. You know, and I've noticed that over the last couple of weeks, you know, my twin has improved in ways, and he has stepped up in ways. Now, things are still a bit slow. There's your patience. We need to be patient. But he's done things that have been a big improvement on what he was doing before. And instead of me being, oh, yay, he's doing things that are good, I've been still going, why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? Why isn't he doing that? And I've been getting angry and frustrated. And I'm realizing, I only really realized this morning. And I was just like, why am I so fixated on what's not happening? Because expectation creates reality as well. So if we're still fixated on the negative, we're going to attract that. But I was like, why am I not more excited about the good things that have happened? They might be few and far between at the moment. They might be slow in coming, you know, but they're there. They're happening, you know, and that's the thing. And that's the whole plane analogy or metaphor. I don't know which it is. But anyway, it's literally like, you have to understand that they are headed in the same direction. They're coming home. We're both on the same path. We're both heading home, which home is each other. But you have to be patient, and and instead of, as I said, punishing the lack of reward or the lack of effort, concentrate on what they have done, the growth that they have done, the effort that they are showing. Because it's hard, especially when, for me personally, you know, and oftentimes the divine masculine is the one who, like, you know, a lot of men have grown up in this patriarchal, toxic masculine society. And they're unlearning that behavior. They're trying to discover how they're only realizing that it's actually more masculine to be vulnerable and more masculine to show emotions than what they've been taught. and to try and unlearn that kind of behavior and actually be open with their emotions and feelings and, you know, being in tune with who they really are, it's a very difficult thing to do. You know, and then we're frustrated why they're not opening up or, you know, being as real, when in actual fact, that little bit of effort that they are putting in, it's hard for them, but it's something. And it's proof of what's to come. So start concentrating on the proof that's there, what you feel on the 5D, that connection on the 5D, but start being more appreciative of the effort they are putting in. Because it's not an easy journey. We keep fixating on the 3D and it's like, why can't you do this? Why can't you do this? But in actual fact, they're doing everything they can in the moment for the level of healing they've already done. And they are accelerating. So we're both going to get to the destination of home at the same time, because we're both still healing. You know, we can't get home first, in a sense, because, you know, we're still in the process of healing. And like, by the time we're personally finished our healing and get to our destination, they will have caught up with us. So there's where our patience, our trust comes in. Trusting the process, trusting that they are doing the work, that they are on the same path, and that we're both going to get there at the same time. So any kind of frustration, any kind of impatience, it's teaching you what you need to heal. So trust that, and trust your twin, and trust yourself. They can only choose you if they choose themselves, and you can only choose them if you choose yourself. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I'd love nothing more than to help you on your path.